Good evening, and thank you for coming. I have some important news about Project Lighthouse to bring you guys today. I realized that this was kind of short notice, and I apologize. I have been wanting to try and give announcements like this to give you guys a chance to engage and ask us some questions afterward. If that's something that you like, we will continue to do this more frequently. Uh, so before I begin, I just want to let you guys know that the session will be recorded for you guys to look back on, and for all of the people who weren't able to be here. So I have called this event today to inform you all that our lead developer, Javidan, is taking a hiatus. Javidan has spearheaded this project since the very beginning, and without him, we wouldn't be where we are today with Lighthouse. We often say that Lighthouse isn't just a union project, it's his project. And he built it from the ground up, and we're incredibly proud of his hard work. However, no project of ours will ever be more important than one's mental health. Javidan leaving the project temporarily is for the best, and I'm grateful that he's looking after his own well-being after spending so much time with Lighthouse, and I'm excited for the time when he's able to come back. We have no plans to slow or pause development. The Union Space Corps program will continue as usual. However, there may be a pause on bringing in new cadets until we can implement some critical features like moderation. We'll let you know what we decide on that end. Right now, we have just about 125 Union Space Corps ranked members beta testing the server, and there are 54 cadets who have been chosen who have not yet connected to the server. Thank you to everyone who is currently contributing to that program and to everyone who is on the wait list. We really appreciate your support. So there are still developers on our team who can continue to help us, and we are committed to finding new talent who can continue to build on the incredible foundation Javidan has created while he's temporarily away. And as we move forward, we're going to need a lot more help to realize our goals. So for this next bit, I want to invite our Minister of Technology, Shadow Leviathan, up to discuss more details about the future of the research and development team and Project Lighthouse.
Hey, I hope everyone's doing well today. I think we can all agree that mental health is one of the most important things that get overlooked all too often. It's for that reason that I'm happy to hear that Javidan is taking a break from development at Lighthouse to focus on his mental health. However, the show must go on. So today, I'd like to talk to you about the position left in Javidan's stead, new opportunities for budding programmers here at LBP Union, and finally, the state of Lighthouse and the custom servers. We're committed to continuing to develop Lighthouse and maintaining the Union Space Corps beta testing program. The custom server project has never been easy, and finding new talent that can push us forward is going to be difficult. However, for 13 years, the Union has continued to prove that challenges like these can be overcome if we work together as a team. With all this in mind, we're looking for developers to help drive Lighthouse forward. As Minister of Technology, I'm committed to recruiting new, talented developers familiar with C#, ASP.NET, and MySQL. We're planning to cast a wide net to fill the vacancy, but we wanted to start within our own community with individuals who have a great passion for and a deep understanding of the Little Big Planet games. Those of you who are familiar with any of the aforementioned programming languages are prime candidates for this position. If you or someone you know might be interested in working on Lighthouse and are familiar with any of the skills that I mentioned earlier, please head over to our website at lbpunion.com/roles to find openings for our research and development team. The openings will have information about required experience and expectations. So much has been done by our wonderful developers to make Lighthouse a reality. There's still a great deal that needs to be done before Lighthouse is ready for public release. We have yet to fully roll out proper moderation tools. As a result, the server can sometimes be difficult to manage. Security and defense are limited, as many actions in the game are not yet rate limited. Account management tools like user-initiated password resets are not yet available either. Users have to rely upon administrators to reset their passwords. Currently, the only Lighthouse administrators aside from Javidan are Michael, Turcross, and myself. Needless to say, I'm excited about where Lighthouse is headed, and we have no plans of stopping now. There's no official release date yet, but we can't wait to bring online features back to the community once we can ensure that it's safe, secure, and stable for everyone.
Okay, so that concludes our announcement. I would like to open up the floor to questions for the next 30 minutes or so. Please keep all of your questions respectful. All of the server rules still apply. And also, please, only one question per person. If you have a second question, please wait your turn. If I move you back to the audience for trying to ask a second question in a row, it's not personal. I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to give everyone an opportunity to ask their question. We can always loop back around to you. Your questions mean a lot to us, and if we can't answer them here, there will be more opportunities. Okay, I see. The first question I saw was actually a text question. It was before I finished talking. Zoyar asked if he could be the wiki director. We'll talk about that later. Okay, this is a good question I saw in the chat just now. When will Javidan be back, and is there any ETA? I talked to Javidan about this the other day, and we agreed that it should be at least 1 month. So we should possibly see Javidan again here soon, around the end of July. It could be longer than that. It depends on how he's feeling. But that's all that I can really say about that at the moment. I see a request to speak from LBP Master. I am going to invite them up to speak.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Is the thing is Lighthouse like an LBP3 level, or is it like something made?
Well, Shadow, should I answer this question, or would you like
to? I suppose I can answer this. So you're asking, Little Big Planet Master, you're asking about Lighthouse, correct?
Yeah.
So Lighthouse, basically, it's, if you didn't know, back in 2021. In 2021, the official public Little Big Planet servers went down for
I remember that
PS3 console, and there's still official public servers up for PS4, but all of those old games, so like Little Big Planet 1, 2, and 3 for the PS3, all no longer receive support. Additionally, Little Big Planet for the PS Vita no longer receives online support. And so here at the Little Big Planet Union, we've been working on Lighthouse, which is essentially a custom server which allows players and the community to come together to enjoy those old games that are no longer being serviced by Sony and their developers, to still enjoy online play, essentially.
So, before, I know that probably fills your mind with a lot of other questions. What I'll suggest to you is, if you want to learn more about what Lighthouse is and to what scope the custom server project is taking on, I recommend heading over to our website. There's a couple blog posts about the progress of the project, and there's also the first one that we ever did explains it pretty well. So if anybody could link to that in the chat, I'd appreciate it. But thank you for your question. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. I am going to invite up Sunday. Hello.
Hello. I have kind of I guess, kind of serious question, but like basically, right? It's gonna be like any DDoS prevention in like the server. It's just like no, just like not like anything, but like it's not gonna be any like DDoS protection like the servers.
I'm familiar with exactly what we're doing right now. So the first level of security we did was, so we are the host for our server is a company called Volter. They provide what's called a virtual private server, or VPS, and that service, for an extra, I think it was like $15 a month, I get up to 10 gigabit of DDoS protection. So that's just on like people trying to connect and overload the server. They have like they use some kind of algorithm or artificial intelligence or something to detect that kind of thing. However, where Little Big Planet servers are most vulnerable is not that area. That's what happened last year, to my knowledge, was people were using the game's own features. They weren't flooding it like you would a traditional DDoS attack, where you just send junk requests from various different computers. It was one computer using the code that was, supposed to make Little Big Planet work, like uploading levels, for example. So by taking advantage of that, they were able to basically overwhelm the server to the point that it wasn't able to function. And we are paying close attention to ways that the server could be taken advantage of in that way. The easiest way to prevent that from happening is through rate limiting. That's where you prevent the end user from sending a message or doing an action too many times in a short period of time. So an easy way for me to shut down Lighthouse right now in the beta testing instance would be to post a comment over and over again with a script, like 100 times a second or something. We are paying close attention to things like that as well. So I hope that answers your question about the overloading protection.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Okay.
Let's just hope no one finds a way to bypass that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for your question. I'm going to invite up Zoyar's hand, which is Zoyar's alt account. Hello.
Hello. I was not prepared, so I'll come back to the audience.
Okay. I'll invite up Riley. Hello.
Hello. If the Lighthouse relies on the PSN network, so what are your plans, if you have any, if PSN servers get shut down for the PlayStation 3?
Good question. Shadow, do you know about this topic? I know a little bit, but I was curious if you had some thoughts.
I know a little bit. So, regarding if or when the official PSN for PS3 or whatever goes down, I believe that we at the Union and regarding Lighthouse, we have some functionality with RPCS3's virtual, like, I guess it's emulated PSN.
I think it's called RPCN.
So, RPCS?
RPCN.
Oh, RPCN. Okay, yeah. RPCN. So basically, there's a number of users, for example, like here at the Union, who have both a PSN account and an RPCN account. And what RPCN is it's the emulator. So the PS3 emulators, like recreation of the PlayStation Network. And I know we've been in talks about contacting the developers at RPCS3 because there's some limitations currently, as you can imagine, with emulating the PS3 and emulating the PlayStation Network. But I believe currently with Lighthouse, we have access to community levels. And so the next step from there in the future, potentially, of course, would be playing with other players online through emulation. But currently that's not possible. but that has more to do with the emulator and the emulated PlayStation Network than it does our instance of Lighthouse.
Mm-hmm. Shadow talked about the emulator. I have like some hypotheses about what could happen with real hardware, like Vita and PS3. And these are things I've heard Javidan say in the past, which is once PSN shuts down on PlayStation 3 and Vita, what's going to wind up having to happen is, or what will probably happen is the homebrew community is going to be a lot more motivated to bring some kind of emulated PlayStation Network to real hardware. And nobody really knows what that's going to look like yet, or what limitations that's going to bring, but that would be the natural next step to supporting online play for Lighthouse on real hardware. But that's all we know right now.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah, no
for
problem.
answering my question.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am going to invite you up to speak. I am not sure how to pronounce your name, unfortunately, because I am not familiar with the Russian alphabet. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you for letting me answer my question. And my question is, let's say our instance or any other instance is able to get more advertised on places such as the Little Big Planet Reddit, for example. Would there be any possible way to make it more accessible for other users to not install custom firmware for other users who do not prefer installing it just to get for Little Big Planet servers?
Okay, so I hear two questions here. They were kind of quick, so I will tackle both of them. But just for everybody else in the audience, let's try and keep to one per question, just to give everybody the opportunity. I've got about 23 minutes left on my clock here. Okay, so will we have the opportunity to advertise other instances? I'm going to say eventually yes. Right now, we're keeping it very close to our chests as about how to build the Lighthouse and maintain it, because it is open source. Anyone can do it if they'd like, but the software is not safe yet to use, and that means if people are going to run their own public instance, it's going to be it's not going to work very well. Your instance is going to be attacked. Bad things are going to happen, and the people who are playing on your instance are going to have a very bad time. And we don't want that to happen, and we are not going to be liable, and we are not going to support that. If you are technically minded and you want to run your own private instance, feel free. That's totally fine. You might even find important information that might benefit the program. We appreciate your insights on that. In the future, however, I've always imagined that there would be an additional enhancement to Union Patcher, which is the software that you use to decide what server your game connects to. I always imagined that there could be some kind of drop-down menu, and you could choose from a list of servers, or have your own list of servers in the app, and you could switch between them if you'd like. Because the more that we're doing this development, we're realizing that there is some benefit to having multiple different servers, because especially when it comes to mod support. Right now, supporting mods is just not something that we think is going to be possible with a public instance, because there's a lot of compatibility issues and potential threats when it comes to things like scripts. We saw a lot of malicious scripts last year that wound up resulting in the servers being shut down. But on a private instance with people that you trust, playing with mods and scripts could be fine, and that would be fine. It's just you need to use it at your own risk. The second question that you asked, I believe, was can you remind me?
I could tackle that.
Yeah. Okay.
So his second question was, will there be any support for accessing Lighthouse for those users who don't want to modify their consoles? So I suppose the first answer to that would be users can go the route of emulation if they'd like to, which would mean that they can emulate their game on something like a PC or a laptop. And then the second answer to that is, if it's on the PS3 currently, no, that's not possible. So, for example, some other games that's possible through DNS. But with the Little Big Planet games, the server address is it's directly in the game's ROM, if I understand that correctly. And what that means is if you edit the server address to connect to a private server, for example, the PS3 console will not run the game. It will not recognize the game's ROM. So what that means is you have to modify your PS3 console in a way such that it ignores the fact that it's running a game that it doesn't normally recognize.
Mm-hmm. A more specific reason why DNS doesn't work, if that was something that was on your mind. Because it would work, but the game tries to connect to the server via HTTPS, and that means that we would need to like reverse engineer the security certificate that the original server used. And not only is that certificate no longer available, it would be nearly impossible. It's encrypted. So that's why it's not it wouldn't work. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'm going to invite Bleck up to the stage. Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
So sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was wondering. I looked on the website and Discord. I couldn't really get a definitive answer, but when it comes to like custom servers, is this something that you're is this something that you currently have for PS3 only, or is Vita going to be supported as well?
Vita is supported. I actually had some numbers about how many people were on Vita. I think it was like in order of like largest to smallest. It was like it was PS3, Vita, and then RPCS3. So we had like a few people who were on RPCS3. There were significantly more people on Vita, and then the vast majority of people are on PS3 hardware. But Vita is supported. There are a few bugs that I know of, such as images don't show up correctly all the time. That's something we're working through. But I actually, if I recall, modifying Vita and getting it to work is easier than PS3.
Yeah, from what I can tell, I'm not surprised.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to bring up Craftling Bot. Hello.
What's up, young man? How you doing?
It's going all right. How are you doing?
I'm cool. So, I don't remember exactly from the last few events if this question's been asked before, but I'll just ask it anyway, just because.
Sure.
So with like the recent news of .me being shut down for the foreseeable future and looking into alternatives, is there like any plans at all, like in any stage, for any kind of like online portal for levels played on Lighthouse at all?
As a matter of fact, I'm about to send you a screenshot of the current, what the page currently looks like right now with, here, give me a second. I'm going to post it in the thread. So it doesn't quite look like, LBP.me. It's very,
rudimentary.
Yeah, it's very rudimentary. It's very, like, focused on, like, making sure the features are working.
Yep.
And what we're thinking is that this like very rudimentary looking interface is going to be what Lighthouse will ship with in production. So every server that decides to use the software will get this. But the interface could look like anything. As long as you're able to call up the information from the server, you could display it however you want. But right now, this is what it looks like. It supports team picks, newest levels, and in fact, the website is actually... it is mandatory to use the website right now to connect to the server. And what I mean is that there's an important security feature where you have to have an account on the website, and it must match the name of your PlayStation Network account or your RPCN account. And you have to try to connect to the game on your console or your emulator, and it's going to give you a 403 error code. But when you get that 403 error code, it's going to generate an authentication request on the website. And that's kind of like if you ever use dual-factor authentication. It looks a lot like that. You just hit approve
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I see. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is really, really cool.
exactly. So that allows instance admins to moderate their server, so they could ban an IP address, they can ban an account, and that means that they won't be able to connect again, even if they have the server address.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you for your question. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, I don't have anybody who has any requests to speak. I'm going to take a minute to look through the chat and see if there's anything poking out. I see a Zoeir's list of questions. Ask questions. We're here. Wait, I see Zoeir is back. I'm inviting him again.
I'm gonna decline on my ult. Anyways, you probably saw my list of questions.
Can we answer one of them?
Sure. Here's my most serious one.
Mm-hmm.
When do you expect public beta to open?
That is a question I don't think either of us really know how to answer right now, except I will call back to what Shadow said earlier. We don't have the necessary moderation tools to really make that possible right now. And right now, the reason why we're in a private beta is because, obviously we don't want just anybody coming in and breaking it, but ultimately we will have to open up the server to additional risk to kind of test for more of these vulnerabilities and tell people, hey, please use this at your own risk because we're in a public beta. But right now, what I've got to do is I have to, when I bring on like 30 cadets every week, they have to like post their username, and I have to create it manually in the admin panel. So I have to create their username, I have to create their temporary password, and they have to log in. And aside from moderation and that, we have to work on getting things like account management. You can't reset your own password right now. You have to ask an admin about it to say like, hey, can you reset my password? And that's that will be almost impossible to do if we're opening up the ability for people to create their own accounts. It is possible to create your own account on Lighthouse. We just have that feature disabled at the moment. But it's going to be... We have to check the boxes first. That's all I can say.
All right, gotcha.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, I cut him off. My bad. Cancel Michael Youngling. I have a couple repeats. I'm going to invite you back up here again. Hello.
Hi. So, as you're saying to Craftling-bot89, I had a question, and I was wondering if you could customize your profile on the Lighthouse website to make it look more unique instead of being bland, if you know what I mean.
Good question. Right now, that feature is not supported. I could see a future where that is supported, where you could, because I remember on LBP.me you could change your profile description. It was very limited, but you could do it. I imagine there would also be an option to change your profile picture, but there's also, if it winds up being too much of a danger to the instance, we won't implement it, so I can't make any promises about that.
Thank you for answering the question.
Thank you. I saw another question. Porkchop GMX in the chat asked, will Operation Purge be a yearly event? So for those of you who are unaware, back in April, on April Fool's Day, we ran an event for beta testers on our private instance. It was called Operation Purge, and it was all about, we wanted to try and stress test the server for just possible dangers and things, or bugs and exploits that people could use to cause harm. So we told everyone in advance about it and said, hey, on this day, do whatever you want. Spam levels, try and run scripts or whatever. Just do anything you can to try and break the server. And at the end of the day, we just reset a backup just in case any of the damage was too much. And that would bring everything back to normal. And from what I remember, Operation Purge had a few interesting results. It wasn't quite what I was looking for. I was hoping to find some really game-breaking bug that we can fix, but it wasn't quite that dramatic. Will we have it again? I would like to have that. I'm interested in having that sooner than April. There were a lot of things going on in April, and I also would like to test other things. I've tossed around the idea about opening up account creation for one day. People would be able to just create an account on the instance and use it, anyone. And then at the end of the day, we would restore the backup and all of those new accounts would be deleted. And that would open up the server to a temporary amount of risk. But I don't know how successful that would be. I heard some resistance about that idea, so we may not do that. But yeah, I would like to continue to stress test the server for vulnerabilities. Okay. I just closed Discord on my phone. That's how I'm looking at the thread. My bad. Okay, I am going to invite Black back up to speak while I figure that out.
Hello.
Hello again.
So I feel kind of weird asking because sometimes I'm worried I misinterpret what should be asked, but I'll just ask. So I was wondering about the how the co-op experience and the content user-generated content system works. Is it equivalent to what it was on the official servers, or are there some differences, kinks, or issues?
Do you want to talk about this, Shadow?
Pardon?
I'll let you take this one, actually.
Okay. It's relatively equivalent. I will say a big difference between... this isn't really a difference that you'll really notice, but in some ways, the way content on our server is uploaded is actually a little bit more secure than the official servers in some ways, where you can... I don't know what the filter is on unrecognized file types and mods on the official servers, but I know that there's tons of custom costumes and objects floating around, but there is a filter on our server that we have active that will prevent unrecognized file types and mods and things from being uploaded. So that will... It might, depending on... You may not know that something that in your inventory winds up being a mod. That happened to... I think, Shadow, you were telling me about that the other day with your confetti.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
But it'll just kind of throw an error at you. As for everything else, you can heart and queue levels. You could do that from the website too. Photo uploading works. Another big one is we can set the maximum number of levels that you can upload on your profile. So I think right now per game it's 50. So you could upload a maximum of what? Is it 300 levels across all games? I can't remember. I'm also bad at
probably
that. So.
For the best.
We can also set they're called slots. We can set a custom number of slots per user. So Shenzenos is someone in the community who runs the Little Big Archive website. We gave him additional slots on his profile to upload additional archived levels that were on the official servers. So that's that's something that instance admins have access to, and that's something that we can do to accommodate certain people with special circumstances like that, because it would be kind of annoying to have to create a ton of different accounts to upload all those. There's thousands of archived levels. I don't know how we're going to be able to get them all on there, but that is an option that we have.
Glad to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Toyo asked the first question that is actually relevant to this announcement, which is what happened to Javidan. Javidan just needs a break. He's been working on Lighthouse almost non-stop since October. when the project began, and I think we can all agree that it is for the best that he takes a little bit of a break to focus on other things. He's also been working on. He recently was brought on as a programmer over at Trixel Creative to work on Restitched, which is a game inspired by Little Big Planet, made for PC, and it's coming to Steam eventually. We're very, very happy to see that he was able to contribute to that project because Restitched is, I think, is a big part about the future of Little Big Planet style games. Where are some more questions? Mind Gaming 44. I'm going to invite you up. Hello.
Hi. Do you have like any concerns that Sony might shut down any of the servers, or that any legal issues might come from it, maybe?
Good question. I know a little bit about this because I was doing a lot of research about this. I've been planning on making a whole blog post for the website about this topic. I haven't finished it, of course, because there's a lot of details to go over. But I will say this: there is probably always going to be the threat that Sony will take action on it. I think that they're more likely to do so if they feel like if they feel like Lighthouse is a threat. Some reasons why they might think Lighthouse is a threat would be if it becomes more popular than their actual games or is becoming like, but then the next issue is like, it's for games that have been shut down. So is it really a threat then? And then the next point I'll make is the code is all open source. So we are not using any proprietary code that Sony uses. That means we're not using any code that Sony has created. We're also not. We're doing all of this in a way that does not require sharing proprietary files. So the biggest thing that people have to do to connect to Lighthouse is they have to modify one line in a file that's associated with the game. It's called an eboot. That line is the server address that you want to connect to with the game. And in a world where we could distribute proprietary files freely, where piracy isn't illegal, it would be so much easier for us to just provide that eboot file up for grabs on Google Drive, and anybody could download it and just use it. But that would be illegal. That is a form of piracy because Sony created that file. That file only comes with a legal copy of the game. So we created a program called Union Patcher that allows you to patch that file easily without having to download any additional proprietary files. So since you're able to do this with all of your own stuff that you own and freely provided things that don't belong to Sony, I can make a fair argument that Sony won't feel threatened by that. But Sony's a big company. If they really wanted to, they could shut down our project for any reason, really, because they have more money. But we will continue to develop Lighthouse until they tell us no. And we'll also not collect any form of payment from the community for it. It's a very good landmark example I can give you is Toontown Rewritten, and any other game similar to that. Their teams are actually using the branding of the game directly. They're saying, this is Toontown Rewritten. It's not called something like Project Lighthouse. And somehow Disney is okay with it. And I imagine that it's because Disney is not currently operating any Toontown servers. They shut them down in 2013. And it probably looks good for them because Toontown Rewritten looks really good and it uses the brand very true to how it was originally used. So I bet Disney could shut it down at any point in time. So I suppose keep that in mind. But Lighthouse is open source, so if our instance winds up getting shut down, that code is still floating around out there. So it doesn't mean that it would be the end of online play. Sorry, that was a kind of long-winded answer. It's just kind of a weighty topic.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just like worried if Sony shut it down at any moment, that it would just be gone. So yeah.
Personally, I don't think that's very likely. And I mean, one thing I used to attribute my that opinion, if you consider the fact that like Little Big Planet 3, for example, came out in 2014, which was 8 years ago, you can see that Lighthouse is not a significant competitor in any way with any of the products that Sony is offering currently. And you also consider the fact that Sony has willingly discontinued Little Big Planet 1, 2, and 3 for the PS3. It seems that they've abandoned any hopes of new profits or new product sales in that regard. For the most part, at least.
Okay, thank you.
So given that knowledge, Lighthouse is not, from a company standpoint, like Sony being a company, Lighthouse is not a significant like competitor in any way, shape, or form with anything that Sony's offering currently.
Okay, because like I've also heard that Restitched got like shut down at some point, like a few months ago, I think, because it was like a Little Big Planet for PC, basically. Like, yeah.
The difference with Restitched, as far as I understand, first of all, they were using Sony's IP. I think they were using Sackboy, and you have to consider that Sony still uses Sackboy as a mascot. Like I watched the DVD the other day by Sony, and in the intro they showed Sackboy. I think it was Uncharted, that Nathan Drake movie or whatever. And Sackboy was actually in the preview. They showed like Kratos and all that. Additionally, we have Sackboy: A Big Adventure. So Restitched was using Sony's IP, and Restitched was using code from, as far as I understand, they were using actual code from the original Little Big Planet games. And on top of that, Restitched is intended to be a product which is sold, if I understand correctly. So those three factors, the use of the IP, the monetary element, and the using of official like Sony owned code, all three of those factors went into the decision that Sony had to shut down that project or take legal action against that project.
Okay, thank you for answering my question.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. I'm glad that now Restitched can continue to be developed. Now that it seems like Sony has agreed that now that Sackboy is no longer in the picture for Restitched, they're using a different character and totally original code. Now they're able to keep going, and they're planning on putting it on Steam. I'm really happy to see that.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we have time for one more question, and then we should wrap up. I'm going back through the chat here. So Kochi asked, would there ever be a game server moderation, like recruitment applications or something in the future? So I guess I'll use this as an opportunity to just quickly talk about how I see the future of how the instance gets moderated. So, as I've said before, when we hit public release, you will not need to use Discord to connect to the server. Right now, we're just using Discord as kind of like a launch point for keeping track of who's connected to the beta test and what like rank everybody is in the beta testing program, as well as like choosing people from the list. It's a random selection from the wait list you can enlist in the settings channel. But I think it's gonna wind up being we'll have dedicated moderators who are there's a team who's on Discord and there's a team who deals with just Lighthouse. And yes, we are going to have to recruit for that. I can't give you any details about that right now because I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. The moderation panel hasn't even been finished yet, so we don't even have access to those tools. Okay, so I think we should probably wrap up for right now. If you have further questions, which I know that you do, because this is there's just a lot to talk about. There is a FAQ like mega thread on our website. I'm going to post a link in the thread right now, and you can ask questions there. People will get back to you eventually about them. You can check through the thread as well to see if there's any questions that somebody else has asked. And then there's a quick little Q&A at the beginning that explains some important topics and things. Yeah.
Before we go, just to reiterate, if any of you here are interested in working on Lighthouse and have any experience with C#, ASP.NET, or MySQL, I encourage you to visit the link that I'm posting in chat right now.
Beat me to it. Dang it. Thanks for catching that, by the way. Funnily enough, I forgot that was kind of the whole point of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Lighthouse isn't going to be able to continue without help. When Javidan comes back, he's going to need help, especially with just the scope of the project is very large, and we need all the help that we can get. So if you know if you know someone who knows something about that, please let us know. There's a little application form through that link. And okay, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate that so many of you came here. This was probably one of the largest stage channel events we've had here so far. So we'll catch up later. So have a good night, everybody.